The history of Vijayanagara has got many mysteries, and one such mystery is the cause of the death of Aliya Ramaraya, the de facto ruler of Vijayanagara in post Krishnaraya and Achyutaraya period. It is Aliya Ramaraya's policies that have caused the great battle, the Battle of Talikota. According to some, Aliya Ramaraya took his life on his own. That means he committed suicide. But whereas, on the other hand, some contemporary sources say that Aliya Ramaraya was killed by Nizam Shah of Ahmednagar. But do we have any concrete evidence, like an inscription or some sculpture or some painting that depicts the truth as to what happened on the ill-fated evening of January 26, 1565 A? In this video, you will be seeing the explanation of the truth behind the death of Aliya Ram.
Today, we're digging into the story of one of the most powerful rulers of the 16th century, Aliya Ramaraya of the incredible Vijayanagara Empire. His life? It was legendary. His death? Well, that's where things get complicated. We've got two completely different stories about how he died, and in this explainer, we're going to figure out which one is true. So here's the mystery in a nutshell. On the one hand, you have the story that many of us know, the one from the famous TV series Battle of Talikota. In that version, Ramaraya, after being captured, takes his own life. It's a noble end, right? But then, on the other hand, we have this, a painting from his own time, and it shows something completely different, something brutal, a public execution. So what really happened? A hero's suicide or a brutal beheading?
So you've got these two wildly different versions of the exact same event. One is a story about honor, and the other, well, it's about a crushing defeat. To get to the bottom of this, we have to look past the TV shows and the dramatic paintings. We need to find some cold, hard evidence. So let's start digging.
But before we jump into the evidence of his death, we really need to understand the man himself. Who was Aliya Ramaraya? What made him tick? Because honestly, his personality is a huge piece of this whole puzzle.
According to a text from the time, Ramaraya's own grandfather gets handed a cup of poison by a relative. He knows it's poison, but he sees it as a sacred offering, so he just drinks it. And as he does, he says, "O Lord, you are my only refuge." And get this, he survives, totally unharmed. That's not just some cool family story, right? That's the kind of deep faith and incredible courage that was literally in his DNA.
And yeah, that courage definitely passed down. Ramaraya wasn't just a man of faith, he was an absolute military powerhouse. I mean, look at his titles. These weren't just fancy names, they were his resume. Breaker of the Gudi Fort, the guy who harvested the forces of the Adil Shah. He captured the Raichur kingdom and brought all 5 powerful Deccan sultans to heel. We're talking about one of the most dominant rulers of his era, period.
But all that success, all those wins, it seems to have gone to his head. It built up this massive pride, maybe you could even call it arrogance. And a lot of historians think that this feeling of being invincible is exactly what caused him to make a fatal mistake. A mistake that led directly to the disaster at the Battle of Talikota in 1565.
So now we have a picture of the man, deeply faithful, brave, a military giant, and, well, incredibly proud. But knowing who he was can only get us so far. To really crack this case, we have to go beyond his personality and look for something tangible, something solid. We're looking for a clue that's literally carved in stone.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Now, timing is everything here. The battle where Ramaraya was captured, that was in 1565. The inscription we're about to look at was carved in 1568. That's just 3 years later. This isn't some legend passed down over hundreds of years. This is basically an eyewitness account, written by people who were there. That makes it incredibly reliable.
So where's this smoking gun? It's right here. It's an inscription on a pillar inside the Gopo Krishna Swami temple in Holakara, Karnataka. It's written in Kannada, the language people spoke there at the time, and it's just been sitting there for more than 450 years, waiting for us to read its story.
All right, so we found our number one piece of evidence. Now for the fun part. Let's decode it. Let's really get into the nitty-gritty of what those words on that pillar say and what they tell us about what happened to Aliya Ramaraya and his entire empire.
The first key phrase is this mouthful.
Sriman Mahamandaleshwara Aliya Ramarajaya Deva Maha Arasugalu Turukara Rajakaryakkagi Astamaನವಾಗಲಾಗಿ ತುರುಕರ ರಾಜಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ಕಾಗಿ
ಅಸ್ತಮಾನವಾಗಲಾಗಿ.
Now, the famous scholar B.L. Rice translated this, and it basically means Ramaraya died owing to the action of the Turuka kings. And those Turuka kings, that's just another name for the Deccan sultans. The key word here is action. It doesn't say he did it himself. It points the finger directly at his enemies.
But wait, there's more. The inscription keeps going. The very next part says,
ಪಟ್ಟಣ, ಸಿಂಹಾಸನ, ರಾಜ್ಯ, ದೇಶವು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೆಟ್ಟು ಖಿಲವಾಗಲಾಗಿ.
which translates to something like, the city was all destroyed and left in ruins. This is huge. It confirms that Hampi, the incredible capital city, was completely sacked and destroyed right after the king's death. The inscription directly connects the two events. The king dies and the city falls. It's cause and effect.
So there you have it. We've got the stories, and now we've got the stone. We've looked at the myths, and we've read the hard evidence. With this primary source in hand, I think we're finally ready to deliver a verdict on what really happened to Aliya Ramaraya.
Let's just lay it all out. The suicide story, it just doesn't explain why the city was destroyed. But the execution story, that one fits perfectly with the evidence. The inscription backs it up on both points. First, it says he died because of the action of the Turuka kings. And second, it confirms the city was destroyed and in ruins. The stone doesn't lie. Its story is crystal clear.
And think about this for a second. This just drives home how brutal it all was. Aliya Ramaraya was about 80 years old when this happened. 80! He was captured on the battlefield, completely unarmed. That romantic idea of a noble suicide just doesn't hold up against the cold, hard reality of an old, unarmed king being publicly executed by his enemies. This wasn't some heroic last stand. It was a cold, calculated political move.
So what's the bottom line here? It's actually pretty simple, but it's also incredibly important. Primary sources, things like this inscription, are history's ultimate fact checkers. They don't just give us the stories we want to hear. They have this amazing power to cut through the myths, even centuries later, and set the record straight. They make us face the truth, whether it's pretty or not.
And that really leaves us with one last big question. The real story of a king's death was hidden by myths for centuries, but it was there all along, just waiting on a temple pillar. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other truths about our past, what other huge parts of our history are still out there, just waiting to be read, carved in stone?
Hope you liked this video, and if you have really liked, please share and comment. Don't forget to subscribe to Anveshi History English channel for more updates on the history of Vijayanagara. Thank you.